What's up, guys? Nolan here. I'm going to try to wing this as much as possible because there's just too many things to cover. What we're going to be talking about today is a secondary video to the video I posted a few days ago talking about, future plans and decks and stuff like that when it comes to Broken Arrow. And people were pretty interested. There was a lot of questions about what I was talking about, questions about like what else could they do and stuff like that. This is going to answer a lot of those questions when it comes to what units, what more can we expect in the game, just in general. So what I did to do this, or what I did to find this information, was just scour the internet. I basically Tarkov'd it. Any of you guys that follow me for Tarkov or know me from Tarkov know that I like to dive deep into stuff, and I've completely changed the way that BSG presented their information into the future. Because I was able to just find so much stuff that they've talked about and stuff that they've shown over the years. And I'm about to do a bit of the same to Broken Arrow here, because there's a lot. There actually is a lot of stuff that they've showed before. So anyway, let's get into it. So what we have here is, I believe, a screenshot from one of the trailers, and we're going to pull up Premiere here in a second. We're going to scrub through the trailers and just to make sure we didn't miss anything, and I'll talk through the details of what the units that we see in there. But this is actually a pretty good one. This is the Tu-22. It's a strategic bomber. And if we go over here, oh, I already messed up. So we're going to pull up another trailer here, because during one of these trailers, it shows a Kinzhal on it, and it looks like this might have been the beta trailer. Let's go over here. So yeah, if we go, it shows a pretty good angle of the underside. There we go. So we'll click this. We'll zoom in here. That is a hypersonic missile. That is a Kinzhal. As far as I know, that is a Kinzhal hypersonic missile. So that is a Tu-22 carrying a hypersonic missile. That's just something to know about. If we go into the details of every single one of these units, it's going to be like a 3-hour-long video. So those of you guys that are interested in this, you can either do your own research, or I'm thinking a lot of you guys probably understand what that is already. So that could be nukes, that could be high explosive, that could be the air burst. It's a hypersonic missile. It's pretty unique. It's pretty dangerous. And it's coming to the game on Tu-22s. So there's Kinzhals and there's Tu-22s confirmed right there. Speaking of Kinzhals, that's a nuke. So one of the major inspirations for Broken Arrow, it is a game called World in Conflict. World in Conflict, you could call in nukes if you were doing quite well, or if you just saved up a lot of points, you could call in nukes. Well, guess what? In Broken Arrow, if you're doing quite well, or if you can save up a lot of points, you can do the same. And the destruction with it is going to be pretty massive. It's not going to be anything like crazy hydrogen bomb levels. It's tactical nukes. But you're probably going to be losing flanks to these if you allow the other team to save up enough points to do this in the future. It is going to be a thing. However, just like with cruise missiles and like with airframes and stuff like that in the current game, you are going to be able to intercept it. You're going to be able to shoot that plane down. So make sure you get some recon up, and we'll see what that gameplay looks like when they end up adding it. But nukes are planned for the game. Going way down from nukes, we decided to start with a boom there with nukes, but going pretty far from nukes, we're going to go over to the, there's a couple of pictures of the Tu-22 that I decided to pull up. It's a very big boy, on top of the Kinzhals and stuff like that. I'm sure it's going to be able to drop lots of bombs, just like the Tu-160 that we have. But we got a picture of the Sheridan here. This can be airdropped and things like that. So I'm wondering what deck that's going to be able to be put in. It's a small tank, not super effective, but nice little recon tank that can be airdropped. And then we have the Striker MGS. That's going into the Striker battalions and things like that. Depends on what deck that they end up putting this in. If this is going to be like a motorized or something for the United States. And then that goes into the discussion around the Strikers and the weapon systems that you can put on Strikers. So it's actually a lot. They're putting on Hellfires, they're putting Stingers, they're putting Bushmasters, they're putting the APKWS, I believe those are called. They're just like guided rockets, lots of different things, lots of different weapon systems, javelins, all that different things. It's a very modular system that you can put up on top of the Strikers. And we might see a picture here or there that is showing that later. But for now, that's the MGS. So I'm assuming if they're going to add the MGS, they're going to add the modular systems when it comes to the Strikers. This is a T-Series. I think this is a T-72. Could be T-80. I think it's a T-72. Lots of different tanks. We'll see those in a little bit here. Another T-72? I think it's a T-72. It might be a T-80. I think that's a T-72 though. Not fantastic with identifying tanks, if I do say so myself. But I do know that that's a different kind of Russian tank. So there's going to be a bunch of them. We're going to see some other pictures of those here in a second. But anyway, that is an S-350 Vityaz. You can see that in the demo mission is another kind of SAM missile system. Lots of different SAMs from the surface-to-air missile for the Russians, and we saw it in the demo mission, so you know, that is coming. That is a TOS-2, which I have pulled up right here. That is basically the TOS-1 that we have in-game, and it's just going to be way more dangerous. There's lots of different missiles and munitions that you can put in those TOS-2, and I think the range is actually better. So I think that's probably going to be a support tech. Same thing with the S-350 that I just talked about a second ago. It's probably going to be a support tech for the Russians, the TOS-2. And then we have our Scud or I think this is a, where we go? Tachka. It could also be a Tachka ballistic missile. We're going to see a couple of these. Could be a Scud, could be a Tachka. We got the TOS-2, so we're going to get rid of that. But this could be a Scud. It could be a Tachka. I already said that like 4 fucking times. S-400 SAMs. Everybody should know what these are if you guys are interested in a video like this. This is just a more advanced of the S-300 that we're seeing with the armored deck in game right now. Again, could be some kind of support deck or something like that. We're going to hold on to the pics of those. Everybody understands. They should understand this is just a more advanced S-300 like we have in the game. Go over here, and we have the Smerches. So Smerches, lots of different munitions that you can put in this between air burst, HE. I'm sure there's going to be like thermobaric and stuff like that. And again, probably a support deck with that one. We have the Tulpan. This is a heavy mortar. This hits hard. There's a bunch of these around in Ukraine right now. As far as I know, they hit very hard. I like using them in Wargamer Dragon because they aren't the longest distance, but I think they're, what are they? Are they 20 or 120 millimeter? What are these? 240 millimeter, double that. Yeah, they hit hard. 120 isn't even that much. 240, they definitely hit hard, and those are really cool. So those are going to be probably going to also be in the support deck. I'm surprised that they aren't in the armored deck, the Russian armored deck. And then I have what I think are these. What are these? The 2S3 Akatsias. One of the many shorter range artillery pieces that you're going to see. This is probably going to be one of the ones that people are spamming. You can put up a lot of these. This is going to the nations here. I'm not sure where I put my Iskander picture. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. There's Iskanders somewhere. I guess we'll go to that in a minute. But yeah, like I said, kind of winging it with this one. There's too many pictures. This was hard to keep track of, but we got those there. The Tachkas and the Iskanders, maybe we'll just kind of fast forward. We saw the Scud missile launcher a second ago. Tachka could also be a Tachka, but it could also be this. We're going to fast forward a little bit. We'll go over here. Could be this. Already in game, at least this model, those are Iskanders. So those of you guys that are talking about the HIMARS and the M270s with the ATACMs and the PRSMs and stuff like that from the United States currently in game, don't worry. Russians have something similar between the Kinzhals, the Iskanders, the Scuds, the Tachkas. There's a lot of different missile systems for probably the support deck that we're going to get with Russia. So don't worry, that is coming, or the equivalent is coming. We'll go back over here. This was from one of the trailers, which I'm sure we'll probably see. I think maybe it was the deck specialization or something like that. We can see a couple of the decks that I talked about in the video that I posted the other day. So this is airborne, this is armored, this is what we're playing with right now. I want to say that this is the Motostrelki, which we'll check out the trailer for that in a minute. That's going to be lots more vehicles and lots of different infantry options for Russians. And then this, of course, is Marine, some of which we can see in the demo mission right now. They haven't put up a video or like a trailer of this stuff too much, but I think we can see some of the units for some of the pictures that we'll see later. So we see the Motostrelki and the Marine for Russians. And then for the United States, we have the Marine and Armored that we're using right now. But then this is going to be some kind of airborne, maybe like an air assault deck. I think it's going to be airborne. This seems like some kind of support because of the cannons and the missiles. So probably the support deck. And this is a Special Forces deck, I believe, that we've heard a little bit of. So we're going to start seeing like Navy SEALs and Rangers and stuff like that we've already seen some pictures of from Broken Arrow or from Steel Ball Leica. So this is probably going to be the Special Forces deck specialization there for the United States. Blackhawks or Seahawks or whatever these are called, whatever the designation is for the Navy. Saw these in the trailer, seen a bunch of them. Surprised we don't see them right now with the Marine deck. So we'll see when these end up popping up. But Blackhawks in general, and then whether they be for Army decks, Marine decks, or Naval units, like we'll be talking about in a second here. Not sure when these will be popping up, but obviously already in game, so we'll see when those ends up popping up. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was the modularity that you get with this. You can put Hellfires on them, you can put lots of different rocket systems on them, you can put lots of different things on there. So pretty deadly and pretty modular and pretty unique weapon systems that you can put on this. So I'd like to be able to put a bunch of stuff on those and be able to shoot stuff with it. So that'd be cool. This is a still from one of the trailers. We can see Blackhawks, Little Birds, and I'm pretty sure that is a Predator out in the background there. So people are wondering, where are the drones with the United States? Where are the drones? Where's the stuff like that? So that's I'm pretty sure that's a Predator, but don't worry, there are going to be drones, and we're going to see a closer up picture of a different kind of drone in a minute here. But we got Little Birds, lots of different things that you can put on Little Birds when it comes to Hellfires, rockets, different weapon systems and stuff like that. Lots of different options. Very old weapon, or very old, helicopter there, so we'll see how effective it actually is, but you can put a bunch of guns on it. So we got the Predator. Obviously, you can put Hellfires on them. You can put bombs. You can put a bunch of different stuff, but probably going to be Hellfires, and probably going to be just as bad as the Russian drones because they're slow, they're easy to see. And yeah, we'll see if they can end up putting them down to the ground at least eventually so that they're a bit easier to hide. We'll see. I don't know. Probably going to be just as good as or just as kind of bad as the Russian drones. This is a still from one of the trailers. I think that this is an Avenger where we can see the wheels. I think that's a Humvee because of the box, kind of the squareness to it. I think that this is an Avenger. That's why I brought up the Avengers. The Avengers, they're starting to... where we're starting to worry about SHORAD or short-range air defense. We're going to start fighting, peer enemies here with China and Russia, with the World War III discussions going on. So the Avenger was a very old SHORAD system where they just put stingers on it. But now, where they're going to be doing similar things with the Striker over here, we're putting Hellfires and stingers and cannons and stuff like that we see, like what we see with the Bradley already in game. Probably going to end up doing something very similar to the what's it called? The Avengers system. We're even seeing some Sidewinders on there. Sidewinders and Hellfires should be pretty damn effective. So it would be nice to see that in game at some point for one of the decks that we're going to see eventually, I would think. So I think that's actually going to be a pretty good unit if we can do what it seems like you can do to it. Over here we got, I think that this is the Motostrelki, or this is intended to be the Motostrelki deck. Lots of different BMP3s, lots of different BMP2s. A little bit of a spoiler there for stuff that we're going to be talking about in a second. Those of you guys that are watching this video, I'm assuming that you know what the BMP3 is. Just upgraded BMP2. You can bring, I think we can put more troops in it, or at least you can more comfortably put more troops in it. Bit of a paper armor setup on that, but lots of different crazy weapon systems that you can put on that. I don't know if it has an APS system, but you can put lots of different cannons, lots of different ATGMs and stuff. Pretty good on that. And then we have the BMP2Ms, which is just a bit of an upgraded weapon systems on the BMP2. Those of you guys that played War Thunder, yeah, you're definitely going to know this one. Different crazy ATGMs. Again, not sure what's going on with APS with that, but lots of different crazy weapon systems, lots of different module systems, lots of different weapons that you can put on these. So they're going to be pretty cool, pretty dangerous. Then we got the BTRs, which it seems like they're going to be given a bit of the same treatment there with the modular weapon systems on these. With the different rockets, ATGMs, cannons, maybe some APS, although I'm not really seeing APS on these. It doesn't really seem like it. And then we have the MTLBs, again, getting hit with a bit of the modularity in the background there with a BTR cannon on that one, a Zeus on that one. There's going to be some Frankenstein vehicles in our future for Broken Arrow here with the BTRs and the BMPs. And also looks like the BRDMs, a couple of these different BRDMs with the ATGMs on them there. And we got some recon vehicles, it looks like. It seems like this is probably going to also be the Motostrelki deck for Russia. Could be a couple of different things. And we'll see how advanced they get with some of these systems here and how effective they are. Lots of different era and slat armor and different, and whether they call it slat or not for Russia, I'm not sure. but different kinds of armor systems and munitions and things like that for a lot of these vehicles. Again, I think that this is going to be the Motostrelki deck. It might be something different, but we're seeing lots of different tanks with different T-72s, T-72 B3s, and T-80 BVMs, which I've pulled up over here. Again, those of you guys that have been playing War Thunder, you are going to know these vehicles pretty well with the T-72 B3s, and then also the BVMs, just more modern tanks. Very surprised we don't see these in the armored deck, to be honest, already. So not sure what's going on with that, but I'm assuming that we'll see them at some point in the future, since that is what we're seeing there. I've lost my place here a little bit. Where are we? Okay. And then we have the Chrysanthema, whatever you want to call these. Looks like we're going to get some more ATGM slingers with the Russians here, which is already very dangerous with the 1800 meter range if these are the attackers. But they're probably going to be the, I'm already blanking on the name again, the Chrysanthema. I think the Chrysanthema is its own missile as well. Yeah, it is also its own missile here. I don't know if it's tandem. Didn't do a whole lot. It is a tandem charge heat, so this and thermobaric, this is going to do some damage. This is going to be a very powerful round here. This is going to be a pretty powerful vehicle. And they're coming with some pretty powerful tanks here with the T-80 BVMs and the B3s and stuff like that. So if you can spam a bunch of these, that's going to be pretty spicy. Again, with the T-80 BVM there, I'm pretty sure that's a BVM. Did I already delete? I already deleted that tab that I pulled up. But more of those coming in the future. Then we got some more. This is probably going to be the support deck with the TOS-2s. We've already talked about that. Some other kind of MLRS systems. The S350 there. Looks like we're going to have some, what are these called? Blanking on them. Skrzets maybe. With these, and they got some Iglas on it, so pretty useful there. OSAs. Haven't seen those yet. So I'm thinking this is going to probably be the support deck. We got some BTR with some mortar systems on there, and the Mistas over here. So, yeah, some pretty advanced MLRS, AA systems going on here, and some artillery systems. SU-24s, the swept-wing bomber that you can put seed on. You can put laser-guided munitions on. You can just straight-up bomb with it. Lots of different things you can put on that. And some more SU-25s. Pretty much all of these we're going to put on the SU-25 already in-game. And then we have some, what are these called? The hovercraft. Both the United States and Russia use hovercraft systems for landing craft, for dropping on beaches and stuff like that. Got some, we already talked about the Iskander. Already talked about, actually I haven't talked about that yet. Hold on to that one. Talked about a bunch of the modularity that we can see with the BTRs. We'll see what's happening with that, with the Motostrelki deck for that. And we have a couple of the LCACs over here. That's for the US. Looks like I didn't pull up any info for these, but this is the Russian LCAC basically. The hovercraft, pull up to a beach, deflate, pop some tanks out, go get some more, go get some infantry, go get some vehicles, stuff like that. That's planned at some point. We're seeing those in the trailer, seeing lots of artwork. Those are planned at some point. Over here with, again, with the Marines, surprised that we're not seeing some of these units in the game. The JLTV for sure, and then we also have the Fire Scout in the back. So we've got, where do I have that? Oh, am I already looking at it? I'm already looking at it. We got the Fire Scout drone in the background, so you could put Hellfires, you could put lots of different optics, you can put lots of different rocket systems and stuff like that, like we're seeing with the AKWS or whatever those are, APKWS systems, and the Hellfires for those Fire Scouts in the back. And then again with the JLTVs, which we're already seeing some of the modular weapon systems that we're going to see with the JLTVs. So Fire Scout, lots of different things that you can put on these things, as well as it just being a basic transport. So we've got autocannons, we've got javelins, we've got more ATGMs, more different kinds of more kinds of autocannons, lots of different little drone systems. Don't know if that's going to be, what's this going to be? So loitering weapon, I forget what that thing's called. I think it's Switchblade maybe. Javelins, autocannons, and then eventually at some point here, somebody's going to show a Hellfire on one of these, right? There we go. Hellfires on some of these. And/or that's not what, I don't think that would be a tow, but some kind of Hellfire or something like that. Lots of ATGMs. Lots of different packages that you can put on these bad boys. And then over here, same thing with the LAVs that we've already seen in game. Need some more JLTVs, some more modularity. I think that those are Stingers, and then an autocannon on there. And then the rest of the stuff we've seen in game already with the LAVADs, the HIMARS, stuff like that. And then in JLTV, tow missile, manned tow missile, and then they got a saw, it looks like there, maybe some kind of machine gun. The rest of the stuff we've seen already with the LAVs, with the tanks for the Marines there. Then this is going to be something different. We have the AAVs that we have in game. We have the Marines that we have in game. But over here, I'm not sure where these are. That's the ACV. That is somewhere here. Again, it's the new transport for the Marine Corps. Not sure what this is, but again, with the modularity that we can get up top with the cannons, with the ATGMs, stuff like that. And I believe there's also APS, so they're trying to figure out how to get APS to work on this. Very heavy-duty transport for the Marine Corps. Surprised it's not in game right now with the Marine Corps deck, so we'll see what's going on with that. Eventually, it's going to pop up into the game. This is from Broken Arrow themselves. Lots of different infantry that we've seen over the last couple of years. So this could be Rangers, this could be Green Berets, this could be a different kind of MARSOC or something like that. This could be some kind of Special Forces, Delta Force, or Rangers or something like that. And then this is what looks like the sniper team, but there's 3 guys here, one with the Barrett, one with some kind of rifle, and another one with some kind of DMR. So 3-man sniper teams, probably for the Special Forces deck for the United States. And then we have a look at all of the helicopters that we have in game right now, except for the Blackhawks. So I'm not sure what's going on with the Blackhawks, or the Navy variant and the Marine variant of the Blackhawks. So assuming at some point those will pop up. And again, very similar to what we're seeing in game already with the F-18s, the Sea Harriers, and the F-35, but this is a different F-35. So I don't know if we're supposed to have the short landing and takeoff, or the hover variation of the F-35 in game right now. I forget which one it's supposed to be, but this is the hover one. You can tell by the little whatever the creases and stuff like that that pop up at the top. This is the one that's supposed to hover, and this is the one that is, I think, short takeoff and landing, because the wings fold up, so you can tell the difference between them. And you can kind of tell that this isn't the one that has the giant engine pop out of the top. So I think this is short takeoff and landing. This is VTOL. And then this big old boy back here, we have the F-14. So we're going to see that again, and we've seen that in trailers and stuff like that, but for some reason, it's not in the game right now. So I'm not sure what's going on with a couple of these Marine units that aren't popping up in the game when we have the Marine deck. We'll see, but they're definitely planned for the future here. Another look at the Blackhawks, and a look at some of the Navy systems and, vehicles, and what am I saying? The ships. So at some points, and from the demo, we saw this, it's going to be usable. So we're going to be able to use these LHDs. We already saw the ACV there. But we're already going to be able to use, or I'm assuming we're going to be able to use these LHDs in some capacity as transport, or as some kind of vehicle that we can use in our decks to some capacity at some point in Broken Arrow. Whether it just be the single player, or whether they actually make specializations and decks for these. That's going to be a thing. It looks like you can get some kind of missile systems, or maybe we can even park some missile systems on top of them. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But then we also have the Oliver Hazard Perrys, which are the destroyers, frigates, stuff like that, that we're going to be able to use in game at some point again, whether they be for Tomahawks or some kind of missile systems, maybe just useful AA, things like that. And then we have the hovercraft. We have the LCACs for the United States as well. Again, drop off troops whenever you're doing naval landings. Go up, deflate, drop off troops, and get out of there. The Smerch, we talked about that before. A MLRS for Russia, but then also we have the Iron Thunder, M109 Iron Thunder. We already have the Paladin in game right now. The Iron Thunder is just longer range, I'm assuming. Different kinds of weapon systems. Didn't do too much research on that. I'm not much of an artillery guy, so I'm going to assume just longer range, maybe some timed shots, so that you can shoot 3 times and they all hit the same target about the same time, things like that. Going on to some pretty important stuff here. There's going to be better pictures out there of the F-22. It's also going to be in the trailer. So F-22 is definitely coming with the United States Airborne, and then we have the Rangers, which I'm assuming is going to be like either the mechanized or the Special Forces deck, probably the Special Forces deck or specialization for the United States. And then here we have a GIF. Hopefully it plays. Yep. And this is the Tulpan This is the heavy mortar system for Russia that we talked about earlier. I actually probably should have brought that up, but look at the boom that pops up with that. These are going to be a menace. These hit hard. And then we have the B-1 Bone. This is the bomber, heavy strategic bomber. Actually, I don't know if you know if you call this strategic, but heavy bomber, definitely going to be with the U.S. airborne deck. So just like what you're using the Tu-160 with Russia, we're going to be able to do some similar stuff with the B-1B there with the United States airborne deck. We have the Iskander here. We've already talked about that a little bit. Unfortunately, it doesn't show the video of it launching, but again, those of you guys that are disappointed that Russia doesn't get the same thing as the ATACMS or the HIMARS or the PRSM, don't worry, that's coming. So forget where this is exactly, but this is marked as February 2023. So at some point, as some kind of promotion material, Broken Arrow or Steel Ball Laika or Slytherin or whoever shared this picture with somebody at some point, and we already have a look at some of the units that they have planned for the game. We'll see when these end up popping up and what specializations they end up popping up in, because what they have selected here is just a general United States deck here. So we've got the A-10. So yes, the Warthog is coming at some capacity. We have the Spooky. So they are going to add the AC-130 gunship in some capacity to the game. We have the Harriers. We already have those in game. We have the B-1B. Just talked about that. We have the F-18E. So I think the F-18G is like the Growler and Seed and stuff like that. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can correct me in the comments if I am, but I think that this is going to be some other kind of Hornet, or maybe I'm just a complete idiot. I think it's the F-18F and the F-18D that we have in game right now. I don't think we have the E. So at some point we're going to have Seed. That's an F-18 because they have the Growler. So see what's going on with that. Another F-18. I believe the F is already in game, or it's one of the variations that we have in game. The Super Tomcat. Not sure what's going on with that. I would think that that's in the Marine deck, but don't know. It was in the game at some point, so we'll see when that ends up showing up. The F-15C Eagle, I believe that is the ASF or Air Superiority Fighter variant. So lots of AMRAMs, lots of Sidewinders, maybe some AIM-260s or something like that. Maybe. We'll see what ends up popping up for weapon systems for that. And then we have F-15E Strike Eagle. Oh yeah, obviously this is going to be airborne deck stuff. F-15E Strike Eagle, so F-15 they're going to be able to drop bombs off of. Then the Raptor, which we know is coming with the American Airborne, F-35A, F-35B, and F-35C. So more F-35s, whether it be short takeoff, landing, the ASF variant, all that goody stuff. But I'm glad to hear about the B-1. I'm glad to hear about the Spooky. Oh, now that I think about it, do I have this in the other pictures? Not. They did show both the B-52. Let me see if I can find it. They did show the B-2 at some point. Some point somewhere, I remember seeing a picture of the B-2. They showed it in like a hangar or something. Huh. Maybe it was the Discord. They definitely showed. They showed the B-2 and the B-52 at some point in the past. I remember specifically seeing those. I'm not sure where those went. Those pictures are somewhere. I'll put it up on Twitter at some point. If you guys are following me on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, you should. Link in the description. But I'll pop them up on Twitter if I find them. I know that they're somewhere because I've seen them pop up whenever I've tried to make thumbnails for this game. I have them saved somewhere. So they're showing up at some point. Anyway, Pantsir. So we already have the effective part of the Pantsir in the game with the Tunguska, where you can pop it on the Tunguska, but it's just a straight up Pantsir truck that's coming at some point. And then we have the Chinook. Now, one of the things I talked about in the previous video is nations and future plans and stuff like that. I was very surprised to see this next picture and an obvious bit of a spoiler clue at what they are planning next for Broken Arrow here. I am very surprised that this is out there on the internet somewhere. This was out there on one of the forums of the people following the game. I think it was from Slytherin directly, but this is real. This is from Broken Arrow, and you guys are going to know what this is. Now, that could be a 2A6, it could be a 2A7, but that is a German Leopard 2. So methinks Germany is coming next. And not that big of a deal with the way that the game works. We have mirror matches. We have US versus US. So Probably going to have US versus Germany, Germany versus Russia. Lots of different stuff. We'll see what ends up popping up. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I think we need to worry about full release as is for now, unless they end up doing something completely crazy and they end up dropping like a few different nations and specializations and a bunch of different maps and stuff like that in game on release, like on a full release kind of deal. That would be really cool. But as I mentioned in my previous video talking about future plans with units and deck specializations and stuff like that, if they went and did like China first, then that's obviously going to be different environments. So unless they have the maps ready to go because of the Marines being such a unique and special unit in the game already, maybe they already have those like South China Sea and Pacific maps already ready to go. Not sure what's going on with that, but I thought that they would probably do European nations first because they have the maps established already. So we'll see what ends up happening, but clearly they have the Leopard 2s, whether they be 2A6s, 2A7s, whatever, modeled in game already because this is directly from them. So. All right, we're going to have to go through some of the clips. A lot of the stuff we've already talked about. Oops, that. A lot of the stuff we've already talked about, so I'll try and scrub through what I can. And a lot of you guys have probably already seen a lot of these units. But we got some more BMP-3s. We have the T-72Bs, T-80BVMs, stuff like that through some of these. But somewhere in here, we have the JLTVs again. So they have those working in game. Blackhawks already working in game. HIMARS, we already have those working in game. Well, just testable in game. BTRs already in game to some capacity. Those are the Pantsiers already in game at some capacity. Mods we're already using. And the Seahawks, or whatever these are, the Blackhawks, already in game at some capacity. There's it flying around. Apaches, already in game at some capacity. So we had the longbow, and it dodged a missile there, it looked like, coming from a Tor that hit a building there. The longbows are in game. Can't play as those yet, but that'd be cool. Then we have some more T-72s coming down the road here. Or is that a T-90M? I think it's a T-90M. Or no, what am I doing? Oh no, that's a red Abrams actually shooting at T-72s. The Harrier on the ground. Are we seeing anything? I think those are just a bunch of spruts. I've already scrubbed through this pretty well. That's where I saw like the Avenger and stuff like that. I asked the devs what's going on with the UI and whether or not they're going to stack infantry up to make it easier on the UI when you have infantry on top or units on top of each other, and they said they're not sure exactly how they're going to do that. But they probably are. That's where I ended up finding the Avenger. There's actually a second Avenger I didn't notice in this picture. Yeah, that's definitely an Avenger. And that's an MGS. That's a Striker MGS in game already. That's definitely an Avenger. And then I think there's a second one back here. Yeah, that's definitely an Avenger. So it looks like it has stingers. Probably has stingers and probably has a 50 cal on there. MI-35, I think, or SU-34. Yeah, or SU-34. That's already in game. I scrubbed through this already. I already saw, I think, everything I need to see from that. SU-34 dropping bombs. Avenger again over there. Bradley's we've already seen. SU-34 dropping bombs. And this is probably more along the lines of what we're going to be seeing a lot of in game. Lots of T-72s versus a few Abrams and some Bradleys. That's probably what we're seeing a lot. Russian doctrine-wise, it's just a lot. They just throw a lot of units at you. You've got the BTRs already in game there. That's one of the earlier trailers, I believe. Oh, fucked up with this one. Oops. Can I just Control Z this back to normal? I think. See if we do. Yep. I believe this is the beta trailer, but there is something new in here at some point. Yeah, we got the Blackhawks already in game. This up here. I had the name before. That is a transport plane. That is a transport plane that we do not have access to at the moment. You guys are probably screaming in your heads right now. It's a... what is it? I don't know if it's a Globemaster or something. And that is also a different kind of C-130 that we have. That might be the AC-130 because you can tell with the radar that they have up at the front. I'll I believe that's used for fire support. But this is a different plane than we have access to right now. So possibly even bigger airdrops coming, more troops, more vehicles, things like that. The reason why we can't use them in the C-130s that we have right now, more vehicles in the C-130s that we have right now, is because they just don't fit. These can drop a hell of a lot more. So I'm blanking on the designation for those, but those are much bigger planes. There's the Kinzhals on the Tu-22s. We got the Raptor in game already at some capacity. There they are shooting their cruise missiles, shooting the Kinzhals. Got some longbows shooting off some Hellfires. Lots of different Sea Whiz and stuff going off for one of the destroyers. More Apaches. These are just grads. Got the nuke at the end of that one. That one's the big one for that. USMC. We see the ships actually moving. This one's a really old trailer here. 18s. I don't see any growlers. That's a bomber there. Might be an ECM pod at the end of that one there. Yeah, that's just the ECM pod. But it's not. Growler. A little different than what we have in game right now, I think. I think these are a couple of different F-35s at some point there. The Marines. Vipers. Abrams. Peps. All this stuff we have in game right now with the current one. Not that, though. We don't have that. For some reason, we don't have the F-14. Not sure what's going on with that. But that F-14 there is dropping bombs. Most Rocky, this is going to be a big one. So we got all of our BTRs, we got our BMP-2Ms, we got our T-72B3s and T-80 BVMs over on this side. BMP-3s are in here somewhere, I think right there. But lots of infantry. Lots of IFVs and lots of infantry. There's our BMP-3s right there. Lots of tanks, lots of IFVs, lots of infantry. This one's going to be a cool one. And then we have our Shilkas with Iglas in the back there shooting at what looks to be an Apache, maybe a Black Hawk. I think that's Apache. One of the recon BTR systems there. Lots of artillery. Shooting up somebody's striker? Yeah, I think it's a striker. Cost 2. BTRs rolling down a road. Lots of different cannons on these. Troops riding on the top of these BTRs. BMP-2Ms. More BTR. More tank T-72s. A couple different weapon systems that we've seen on the BTRs. Bit of recon, bit of ATGM. Nonas. Are Nonas supposed to be on BTRs? Seems like a Nona turret on a BTR if it's not. More T-72s, BMP-3s. Surprisingly, with the Motostrelki, helicopters dropping troops off. Bit surprising there. The special forces there, it looks like, with the SVDs, T-72s, BTRs, S-350s, OSAs. So maybe we're getting S-350s and OSAs with the Motostrelki. S-325s, BMP-3s, 25s, and is that a different map? Is that? I think that's power plant. That might be the power plant map. This is a bit different. This is a MLRS that we don't have in game right now. I'm actually not sure what those are, so I don't know if it's gonna be thermobaric or HE or what. But we got our T-72 B3 or B3s. We got our BMP-3s with all the crazy weapon systems and stuff like that. We got some Hinds up in the air. This is gonna be a cool deck. For sure, this is gonna be a cool deck there. And that's the extent of it. So that's everything that I have been able to dig up. Except for the, I'm going to see if I can pull up. If I can pull up the pictures of the B2 and the B-52s. Those are somewhere on the interwebs. That's somewhere out. But that's everything that I could possibly find for Broken Arrow. It's a lot. There's a lot of stuff coming. Like a lot. And we're just cracking the surface there. Hopefully this is helpful to you guys. Hopefully you guys are able to nerd out on this stuff as much as I am, but excuse me. To support what I do, click the buttons on the screen. Check out the Patreon. Check out the streams. Check out my other channels for other games right here. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, especially with this long one. And I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.